One of the things that have been inspiring me lately is this book called The Brief History of the Celts or the Celts. I think it's Celts. I can't be sure. Basically, they were one of the first originators and cultures to form in Britain. I wanted to learn more about history. I found that was a good place to start as it predates a lot of shit that goes down in England and Britain. There's still, and it's set most of the history in the book is set before Christ, like hundreds of years, like around 400 BC, and it basically it seems for a lot of the story it's the Celts are the Romans, and it's a lot of the wars and confrontations from the Celtic perspectives. The culture's fascinating. I really dig the culture because it's a very equal society. Women have a strong place in society in wars and within law. And I mean, there are many great characters and people in throughout the history. But one of the most interesting stories that I read, stories, but they are stories in a way. One of the most interesting events that I read about was the Celtic people. They come up to the borders of the Roman of Rome, and they wanted to settle down without causing a fuss. Just have a little bit of more land, settle down, no fuss. Now, I'm getting some bits of information wrong, but the gist of it's right because obviously I'm not reading it straight off the book. So they wanted to settle down, and so they sent off to Rome, and they said, "Look, can we settle down?" And the people of Rome, they sent 3 ambassadors down, young ambassadors, and they met with the Celtic people. Basically, what happened was these ambassadors were a bunch of idiots, and they're cocky, arrogant, and they really pissed off the Celtic people. Now, the Celtic people wanted, repercussions for it. They wanted for the ambassadors to pay for their insolence. So they sent off to Rome and they said, "Look, can you sort them out? We want justice." And Rome, what did they do? They elevated the position, the social standing of the ambassadors to just higher social class and power. This pissed off the Celtics to no end. So they decided, "Fuck you, Romans. We're gonna march all the way to Rome." They marched all the way to Rome. Every settlement they went by, they didn't touch a thing. They didn't harm anyone. They just said, "We're moving on. Don't worry. We're going straight to Rome." They didn't fight one person on the way. And the Celtic people, they're really big on law. They don't break the law. They throughout history, because the Romans are the key victors in history against the Celtics. This revisionist history, the victors have classed them as barbarians and savages when they're really far from it. They're very cultured, but that's how they're painted in mythology. They're painted as these really big savages with paint on their face, but it could be further from the truth. So the Celtic people, they go to Rome, they ransack it, fuck up everything, they take it over, they hold Rome for 7 months, and then they give it up after a ransom and return home because they had no interest in keeping Rome when they could have. They took Rome, took the ransom, taught my lesson, went home. Bad ass. So yeah, that's what's been inspiring me lately. After I finish this, I'll try and just keep going up the time scale in Britain to see how everything progresses. It'll be really fun. Some really great stories like that in there. Particularly a lot to do with women, which is really nice. Right, almost done. So look, we can keep making the videos, but for the time being, it's the only contact I want to have. I received your email and I found it incredibly unfair. I'm not going to retread what was said in the email, but want you to know that I consider dropping our friendship, but decided it's worth keeping. I've always had good intentions when it comes to being there for you as a friend. You are right that I shouldn't try to motivate you. If you can't do that yourself, then that's the path you're going to go down, no matter what I say or do. My question for you is this: what era in history interests you, and why? Perhaps you find a cool story to tell me about Forget about the email, forget about all that. Just keep going. Hope you're well. Goodbye.